Hi everyone, this is Melody with Design by, yeah, Design by Melody. Wow, I had a moment there for a second. Okay, so it's super early in the morning. I was up ready to teach my class and my student didn't show up, so I figured I'd go ahead and do the voiceover for this video and get it posted for you. And this is a Project Life page, and I'm just using that same stash kit. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about this stash kit. So, this is a stash kit I made quite a while ago, and I've just kind of been chipping away at it. Well, as you'll kind of see in this layout, I really struggled putting some of the things together. I'm like staring at the papers, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I really wanted to use the scrap papers in addition to the cards, but it just didn't seem to really work out quite as easily as I feel like it probably should have. So this is going to be my last layout with this particular kit. I'm going to disassemble it, put it back in my stash, and then figure out what I want to work with next. I might pull out a pre-made kit. I do have a stash kit that I worked with, probably almost a year ago that's still in the like 13 by 13 inch baggie that I had put it in. So I might pull that out, play around with it a little bit, see if it's worth using or if I need to go ahead and just disassemble that one as well. And then maybe move on to a pre-made kit. So I'll let you guys know what I do. It's just going to probably take me a minute to figure that out. But also, today is Thursday, December 20th. Yes, Thursday, December 20th. Today is Calen's last day of school, and then we are going to be traveling a little bit for the holidays, as well as hosting a Christmas Eve dinner here at our house. So I've got a busy next couple days. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is going to be the last video until after Christmas, and then I will pick up on the Thursday right after Christmas with another video for you. I'm not sure what that video is going to be. It may be building a stash kit. I'm really not sure. It just depends on what I decide to do. But obviously you will see that, and it will be posted on Thursday right after Christmas. So Thursday, December 27th, if my calendar in my head is proper. It may not be, but whatever. It's the Thursday after Christmas. So anyways, let me tell you about this layout. So these photos are just kind of some random photos from a weekend. There's photos of Calen working on some work, and when he was a little bit younger, like in kindergarten and preschool, we would try to work on different things at home. I had little worksheets for him to do. I had the like preschool lined paper, and it was really kind of cool. It had little bumps on the paper at the top line and the bottom line, and it did not have bumps on the dotted middle line, and it was supposed to help you when you're writing know if you go over the line, because you would feel the bump on your pencil. So that's what he's actually doing in this particular picture on the top left. He is practicing his handwriting. I had written out letters and he is tracing them. In his school, they are required to write in cursive starting in kindergarten, so they teach them cursive in kindergarten. We have him in a charter school, so it's a different curriculum than the regular public schools are, but that's just something that his school requires. So we spent a lot of time working on his handwriting at the end of preschool as well as the beginning of his kindergarten years. He's not necessarily the most, he doesn't have the best penmanship because he likes to rush and get things done. He definitely can write, and you can read what he writes, but he rushes, and so sometimes his letters will start big and then end up small, or start running in an angle or whatnot. So we did a lot of practice, and that is what I'm capturing here. I have to go through my little memorabilia bin because I swear to you that I kept the paper that he's writing on, or at least a couple of the papers, because we had a whole notebook full of them and I can't find it. So I've got to go. I have a pile of memorabilia on the floor with like his school memorabilia. So I'm thinking that might be mixed in there with that, and that's going to be a project of mine in January. So if I find it, I will put a couple of those pages just in a 8.5 by 11 page protector and slide it in my album right next to this page. I really hope I have it. I have plenty of samples of his handwriting if I don't have that. But I thought it'd be kind of nice to have the exact same handwriting that you're seeing in the photo. So anyways, so that's what was going on this weekend. And then there's a picture he drew and wrote his name on the middle left on that pink photo. And these photos are actually going to change location on this layout by the end of the process video. I kept playing around and adding things and creating cards and things like that, but I'm not totally okay with this layout. It just didn't turn out how I want it to be. And so I end up switching some of the locations of the cards, and I feel like that gives the layout a little bit more balance. The way it is right now, a lot of the photos are kind of dark because they were at night and they were in my in-laws house, which just has like bigger, darker furniture, so it kind of casts shadows and things like that. And the image quality is not exactly what I is not ideal for scrapbooking. So it makes the entire layout seem a bit darker. And then I had that card on the top left that's just like this bright white, lots of empty space kind of card. And I felt like it was super unbalanced when I was looking at it at the end. So I end up moving a few of the cards that are more white based from the left over to the right, just to kind of try to balance out a little bit of the empty space versus like darker filled in space. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. I hope that makes sense to you guys. So I've got my stash kit, and as you can see, I'm literally just going through each of the little compartments and pulling out things that I think I might use. I have a few wood veneer pieces. I have a few chipboard pieces. I put a few of those off to the side because I knew where I wanted a few of them on the layout. But then, like, I only have 2 places where wood veneer are, and I typically like to try to put it on a Project Life page in 3 places so it looks balanced across the page. Now, I'm really going to screw that up whenever I move cards around after I've already embellished all of them. But it still kind of has the same effect. It doesn't mess it up too much. But like right here, I only have 2 places where I have wood veneer, so I've laid out a couple wood veneer on the top left to try to pull in another 3rd place. And then I have a place right now where I have a piece of chipboard, and so I pulled in other chipboard pieces to try to add, and I have a little pile of those on the left. What I did though is I also have this Feed Your Craft chipboard set, and they're adhesive chipboard, and they're a little bit smaller scale than what those loose chipboard pieces are on the left. So I end up going ahead and adding 2 of those, and I will come back later and actually add 2 more. So I end up with 4 wood chipboard pieces on the layout, but I just kind of keep them off to the side as I'm figuring it out and trying to determine what I want to do. And then I had this little like polka dot banner thing that I created at the bottom left. It was just a scrap of a card. Anytime I'm working with a stash kit, especially when I'm getting near the end of it, I really start looking at the scraps excuse me, that are in my kit still, and I try to use them. And then because after when I start taking the stash kit apart, it really makes me go through and try to evaluate whether I want to keep the scraps or not. So you see the little scrap pile there right beside my right hand as I'm pushing down the back of these staples. And that's the little scrap pile that I will have to determine if I'm keeping them or if I'm throwing them away. I'll keep 90% of them, just to be honest with you. And then all the white scraps I just throw into a little bin. And I always use that for stamping on or backing washi that's too transparent and things like that. So the little scraps do get used. For instance, right here, I have this washi tape that I was going to put down here. End up backing it. It's like a gray with see-through stars. So I end up cutting a piece of it off and having 5 stars, and then putting it on a little bit of white cardstock, just scrap white cardstock, and I'm going to put 5 stars on that photo of Calen's drawing of himself. It's really kind of a cute photo. It's like a stick figure, but he drew these big eyes with pupils, and then he's got like knees on his his stick figure. It's like a more involved stick figure. Also, to kind of tell you a little bit about other photos on this page, so the 2 small photos in the middle row on the right, as well as the 2 4x6 photos on the bottom, are of a day trip we took down to see Ernest's parents. His grandfather was in town, as well as his great uncle and great aunt. And so we got to spend some time with them, which was really kind of special, especially now thinking about it. I think that was the last time I had seen Ernest's grandfather before he passed. I think Ernest saw him again, but it was kind of it's always good to take the opportunity whenever you have family that's out of town, at least in a maybe driving distance from you. So we try to do that whenever possible. And I'm glad I captured it on film. my in-laws were actually at our house last weekend, and my mother-in-law saw these photos sitting on my desk before I scrapbooked them, and she asked if she could have copies of them. So at the time, it was just taking pictures of people laughing and joking, but now it means a little bit more, especially since his Ernest grandfather has passed. So that's one awesome thing I love about scrapbooking, is being able to have those moments and honestly being able to share them with others. My mother-in-law doesn't typically go through my scrapbook albums, but she does come in my office and talk to me when she's here and I'm working. So she saw the photos, and I think it was just a kind of a nice moment as well. So, and then the top photo here on the right that you see of Ernest's car. So I don't scrapbook chronologically, but if you've been with me, you may have seen the photos of his car that was totaled. We had purchased a car, and it was totaled within a month of having it. Someone pulled out and like T-boned him and totaled his car. And so this is the new car. And this is actually the car he really wanted, but it wasn't available at the time whenever we had purchased the other one, which he really liked the other one, but this is the car he had originally thought had went to purchase. And so funny enough, it was a awful situation where he was in the car accident because it could have been really, really bad. But the journaling I put here, there was a little tag that I had cut down, and it says just a note to say, and I had put some Heidi Swap glitter alphas and put the word new on there, and I had to alter a B to make another E, but that sticker sheet has served me well, and I'm hoping to be able to pretty much use it up entirely. We'll see. I'm getting creative with it. And then I just did some journaling that says things always work out. Excuse me. And that's on the photo with the car. So I'm kind of like feeling like I'm wrapping this page up, but I actually have a lot more to do because I fiddle around with it, and I cut out, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes worth of footage. I speed it up times 2, but I cut out about 20 minutes worth of me fiddling around with different die cuts and trying to figure out what I want to do. I went through the Life is Beautiful Fancy Pants ephemera pack and went through every die cut to see if I could find something. And I found, I think, one that I used, that banner, that's that pink banner right there on that confetti card, and it says, "You make me happy." But I think that's the only thing I used from that entire ephemera pack, and I went through every single little die cut in there. Oh, and I use a teal speech bubble that I cut in half. So I'll tell you about that bottom left photo. I think it's really kind of cute. So that's Ernest's grandmother, but on his father's side, and that's a picture of her, and her name is Kate, Kate. Well, Calen, when he was introduced to her, he was a really super shy child. He's kind of getting out of it now. He's turned 8. He's kind of growing up a little bit, maturing a little bit, but he was an extremely shy child. It doesn't matter if you were family or not. He was super shy. So it took him a while to warm up to her, just because he doesn't see her very often, and she's really funny and she jokes around a lot. Well, he loves her. She stole his heart, but he doesn't call her Grandma Kate, Kate. He calls her Grandma Cake, Cake. And I think that's what he thought we were calling her for the longest time. And now to her, if you try to correct him, he's like, "No, it's Cake. That's her name, Grandma Cake." So he calls her Grandma Cake, and she thinks it's funny as well. But I wanted to make sure we capture that, because those are going to be those things that you may remember, but it'll fade, over time. So I like to kind of capture those things like that. And I'm trying to be better about writing down the funny little things that I remember each and every day in a journal. That way, if it never actually makes it into a scrapbook, it's still in a journal. So if somebody ever finds the journal one day, they'll, kind of flip through there and laugh at the little stories that are in there. And I had a family history kind of journal that I'm writing in, and I just spoke with my aunt yesterday, my dad's sister, and my dad passed away a couple years ago, but I just had a really long conversation with her yesterday. I think it was an hour and a half we spoke on the phone, and she told me all of these stories of her and my dad when they were kids. And so I took notes when we were talking, because I had specifically called, she called me and then I called her back because she left a message for me. She had specifically called me to tell me stories about their childhood. So I was ready. I had pen and paper and I wrote those things down. And so I'm think I might add those particular stories in the family history journal thing that I had started, because those are some stories that are really special, especially since both of my grandparents have passed on that side, and my dad has passed. I've got my aunt and my uncle left, but they live in a different city. I don't see them but a couple of times a year, and I'm trying to be better about making sure I call and speak with family a little bit more often just to stay in touch. I always, write letters and do Christmas cards. I'm an old-fashioned letter writer. I like to write letters and mail letters to people, so I do that. But I just want to make sure that I capture any possible memory, especially of those who are past, just because those things fade even faster when there's nobody talking about them. So anyways, I feel like I'm chatty today. I hope you don't mind. I think it's because it's like 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm still kind of tired. And I'm just starting my coffee for the day, so it's taking me a little bit to kind of get my brain moving. But as you can see, as I've been talking, I'm still fiddling with this stinking layout. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. But this is the very last part where I'm staring at it and I'm trying to figure out what doesn't feel right about it. And I'm going to shift the cards around and kind of move them and see what I want to do with it. So I'm literally staring at this layout right now. And this is ×2, so I probably stared at it for 10 minutes or so. And trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And that's where I kind of shift that top card over. And then I'm going to shift a few of the middle cards over as well. And then that will complete this layout. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I will be back on Thursday after Christmas to see and do more with you. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.